Hi, my name is Natalia Hernandez, and today we will talk about approaches to course design. So first you need to understand what is a course design, which is basically a plan that teachers use to create a course. So in this step-by-step guide, the teachers know what to teach, how to teach, and whether if their students are learning or not, because this plan contains the content, activities, learning goals, and assessments teacher would use in a course. Reading the document, we found that we have three main approaches, or three different approaches that we can use to create a course design. The first one that I will talk about is the language-centered course design, which is basically an approach that focuses on the content, on the linguistic content, and also on the structures that learners need to acquire. So in this model, the course design is organized around specific language skills such as grammar, vocabulary, and language functions. So I'm gonna show you the structure here, or for this approach. It is very organized, as you can see. Now I will talk about the 5 key points that we found interesting about this approach. All of these key points we found them on the book that on the PDF that the teacher sent to us. The first one says it starts from the learners and their needs, but it's not actually about the students, because it doesn't. Even though it starts with a list of things students might need, it doesn't keep their feelings or interest in mind. The second one says it is a static and inflexible procedure, meaning that this approach is rigid because it doesn't allow changes easily. So if something is not working, or if students need more help with certain areas, this is not going to change. This checklist doesn't bend or change, basically. The third one says it is systematic. For students, this approach might feel imposed, because as they are not figuring out things by themselves, they are just following an order that is given from the teacher. They feel like it's imposed, not explored. The fourth one says one of the primary principles of pedagogic material is that they should be interesting. And on the brackets we found that says it misses out on fun and engaging parts, because sometimes as it is always organized, what makes learning interesting is a story or is a game. But you know that we don't have these type of exercises or activities between this approach, because this approach is about master language proficiency skills such as grammar. So you're gonna find a fill in the blank questions or this type of activities. And the fifth one says it only scratches the surface. This approach looks at what students say and do on the surface, because they master vocabulary, they master grammar points, but what about the fluency? What about the speaking part? How do you know that they are really that they can really produce the speaking part? And to finish this approach, we found a very interesting quote that someone said on a seminar related to the approaches and everything, where this person said it doesn't matter if it's boring, it's ESP. ESP stands for English for a specific purpose. So that's it, basically. Okay, so the second approach is called a skill-centered course design. This approach helps a student learn the skills and strategies that they need to use for real-life situations. For example, reading a book, or understanding a speech. Even though this approach cares about the student's needs, it's still focused on using the language, like reading and understanding the book, as I mentioned before, than on learning the language itself, like practicing grammar or pronunciation.
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Richard, as you know, and I'm going to continue with the explanation of a skill centered approach. As you can see in the slide, we highlight three main aspects, which are the first one, focus on skill, not just words. That means that the student have to develop another skills, not only learn isolated vocabulary that just word in one way. It's more about learn how to understand the information and how to highlight the key points of the text. The second one, we have build on what you already know. Just one thing in that part. This approach pays really attention on what the students can already do instead of what they don't know. Basically, is that if a student is good picking out information of a text. And the third one, which is flexible goals. Basically, that means open goals. For example, a student that is learning how to read a book in English doesn't have to understand every single word. They just need to understand the main idea of the book. That's all. As you can see, we have a little phrase. The skill-centered approach teaches students practical skills that help them use English for a specific task, just like learning soccer skills to play a game. That's the best way to explain what a skill-centered approach is. When we talk about learner-centered course design or learner-centered approach, this says like the learning process is totally determined by the learner. We as teachers, we can control what we teach, but what the learners really learn is determined by the learner alone. Learning is not only a mental process. It's not a psychological process isolated. No. Learning is a negotiation between individuals and society. The author mentioned that. That means that the society establish a target situation. That target situation has to be fulfilled or shift for the individuals. They must do their best to get as close as the target is possible. Well, summarizing, we have a good definition of what learning course design is. Learning-centered course design is. Well, we have here a good definition, which is a learning-centered approach is not only like knowing English for a job, as you can see there. Instead, it focuses on how to learn best, so the course can be adjusted based on the different situations and needs you could or the students could present during the learning process. That's very interesting. And in the next slide, we can observe every single approach, how they consider the learner at the time to design. You can see there, language, just at this time, skills, just take 3 steps, and at the last one is learning, which consider the learner in all of the process of designing. You can see there. That's very interesting. And why this approach is negotiable and dynamic? In the definition, it's said there. It's negotiable because it can add, adjust or change things during the learning process, depending on the situations. And it's dynamic because the students or the whole family, the students work together with the different principals. The teachers are involved at the moment to adjust. That's why it's dynamic. Well,